Hey there, mental projector. When Rebecca and I were coming up with this video, we called it "What is a mental projector?" And we were going to tell you what a mental projector is. But we thought about it and went, that's not really the way for us to go about this here. We're not here to tell you who you are as a mental projector because that's unique to you and to all of our experiences. So instead, we're going to do the projector thing, and we're going to do a little mental projector Q&A so you'll learn more about our personal experiences being mental projectors. I had such a block the other day writing notes about what is a mental projector, and we realized that it's because this isn't an informational video or a tutorial that says this is do this or this is what this is. It's more, this is what we think and feel and want to share with you. So yay. Without further ado, we're going to do a little mental projector Q&A. I'm going to ask Rebecca a question. She's going to ask me questions, and you're here to just listen along and hopefully learn something about yourself as a mental projector. So I will start us off. Here we go. And just for some extra fun and spice and a little extra shock to the first line over here is we don't know each other's questions. We're just shooting questions at each other. So I love doing stuff like this with you as a first line because I feel like it just strengthens your 1-3 because we're just riffing. So my question for you is, mental projectors are non-sacral. None of us have a sacral motor. If you thought about your days, give us a couple examples in your day that you honor your undefined sacral motor. How do you honor your undefined sacral motor as a mental projector?
That's a fabulous question. So my life looks a little different now than it did before. So I'll give a couple examples now and a couple examples when I was like stuck in a job, because I know some of us still have to be stuck in a job. So now it's great because I have a little more control over my schedule, and I did that because of the non-sacral, and I totally allow myself naps. If I'm working from home that day, usually around 2 o'clock, I just can't think anymore. But if I lay down and close my eyes for 10 minutes, then it's great. I'll set a timer. I don't even have to sleep. I just close my eyes 10 minutes and then I wake up, drink some water, and I'm good. And that's been a huge game changer. And I felt really guilty when I first started doing that, honestly. It was hard to allow myself. But a couple of years ago, I was a junior high coach. So I was in the gym all day and I was working with generators, and I was around over 1,000 kids throughout the day.
Wow.
So it was a lot and I would get exhausted. But I finally found, once I discovered human design and started experimenting with it, whenever I would have a class period off or some time that I could have off, I would go to a closet, and me and my coworker, who's like my best friend, we started calling it the feelings closet. So I would just tell her like, hey, I'm going to go to the feelings closet for like 10 minutes. And she's like, okay, cool. And I would just go there, or I would go sit in the field in the back and take off my shoes and just put my feet in the ground because I'm narrow valleys. And if I can just have my toes in the grass, then I feel so much better. So I would go do that during lunch. And even today, like if I'm working from home, I'll go for walks around the neighborhood if I need to clear my head. If I'm subbing and I'm around a lot of kids, it helps because I'm not the one like super responsible. I'm subbing, but I'll take walks around the campus, or I'll go to the little courtyard during lunch. So that's the main thing for me, is just starting to really pay attention and allow myself the rest, allow myself to pull away when I need to.
I think that's super interesting that you said just the act of being the sub is less responsibility, which it really truly is, but you're still there with the kids and teaching and doing the stuff that you're really good at, but it's less on you just because it is. And it also, I feel like as a sub, you can change, it changes up. Like you're not with certain kids for the whole year. You might see them often, but you're not with them from the beginning to the end, I would assume, right? not usually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I start to know, like when jobs come in, I see the teacher and I'm like, oh, I know who she teaches. Yeah, I'll hang out with those kids.
Oh, I
Or,
love that. See,
you
you
know,
get the choice, you get the
yeah,
options to be like, I want to opt, I'm going to do this. I want to opt into this. That's really great for your energy as a non-sacral and as a mental projector, to allow yourself to have the choice rather than being thrown into something and being like, oh no, I have to teach rocket science today. Ah, I wore the wrong shoes. So, oh my gosh, I love that so much. And then I'm going to answer it too. And I was thinking,
yes.
I was listening, but I was also thinking, because there's so many ways to answer this question. So
Yeah.
I kind of have a weird weekly schedule, I guess you would say. Most of my time is spent working on my own business and doing the things that I enjoy doing, which is being out in nature, hanging out with my husband and my dogs, cooking, baking, human design things. I got sucked into a crystal sale yesterday. You know about this.
Yes. And then
I
you sucked
bought a
me
bunch of
into
crystals
it.
and I sucked her into it too. So like having the time, and yes, this is perfect because yesterday I was like, oh, I do have the time to be sucked into this crystal sale, which is terrible. But also I wasn't like trying to do other things. I was very into this crystal sale and I wasn't trying to like do a bunch of other stuff, which was helpful for me. But I digress. What I really wanted to say is at the beginning of the week, I wait tables. Similar to Rebecca, I'm in an environment that is a lot of other people. Mine also happens to be alcohol fueled, so it's a little different, but it's a lot. It's a lot of people. I'm up late at night. I'm always on my feet. I'm here, I'm there, I'm there. I'm carrying heavy things. I'm doing a lot, a whole lot. Fortunately for me, I have been able to manage my schedule to 3 nights a week, which is a gift. And
Yeah.
I feel so grateful that I can do that, because even working 4 nights instead of 3, I feel a huge, huge difference in my energy. It's just like, well. So because I do this, I allow myself to sleep later on the nights that I have to stay up late, because
Mm.
I don't like to stay up late, but I have to. And I don't get up early in the morning very well. So I just allow myself. I just say, it's okay. You don't have to get up at 6 a.m. every day. These nights where you don't get to go to bed until midnight or after, like sleep till 8, it's fine. Like I have that luxury. I don't have kids, so I have the luxury of it. So I should take advantage of it. And that's another thing that's really important for projectors is, where in your life can you take advantage of the space and the time? Like there's always going to be places. There's just usually things saying, oh no, that's that's being too selfish. I'm paying too much attention to myself if I do those things, or I'm not paying attention to my kids or my job or my husband or my all these things. So I sleep in, and I also don't plan a lot on the days that I have to work at night. I don't read. I don't do human design readings. I don't really do anything taxing, because I don't I know I won't have the energy for it, and I usually don't. So I don't try to force myself into this thought process of every day has to be super productive and I have to get everything out of every single minute of every day, or I'm not being productive. Right now in my life, this is how it's going and how I've scheduled it, and to allow myself the compassion and the awareness to go, oh well, you were up really late last night, so today you're literally like vacuuming. That's your main thing
Right.
for the day. Like, and then you're going to go to work again and do the whole thing. So I've allowed myself to say, it's okay that this part-time job exhausts you. It's okay to say that out loud. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Even if I'm watching other people run around me and work doubles and 6-8 days a week, that's not good for them. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean it's good for them. So that's another big thing. Just because they can do it, just because you can do it as a projector doesn't mean it's good for you.
Right.
So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, because with that non-sacral, right, like we are essentially amplifying the sacral energy, so we can run circles around people.
Oh my
That doesn't
gosh.
mean it's healthy, and that doesn't mean it's what we're
Yeah.
meant to do. Did you
Yeah.
experience that? Like before you really figured out human design, were you kind of doing way too much?
Oh man, like it would always confuse me when other people would say they worked 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week. Even before I learned about human design, when people would say those words to me, it was, or I would see people online like, I get up at 5 a.m. and I get home from the office at 8 or whatever. I could not fathom doing that to myself. That seemed horrific. It seemed abusive. Like I was like, there's no way. I've always waited tables. I've always had a job similar to you where I go, oh, what's the schedule that I want? Oh, this is how many days I'm available. And I'm not like, I never have to show up Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, no matter what. Ever. It's never going to be a thing because I can't do that. So I knew that before human design. I've always known that. I can't fathom that. But because I knew this, I thought somehow I had like a secret that everybody else didn't have. Like, oh, you don't have to work 70, 80 hours a week to have a great life. Oh, I know the secret. Now I just have to figure out how to do it. Capital D, capital O, how to make it happen, how to initiate all of the things and be in the right place at the right time and pick the right path and make sure I go this way when the exact moment that we go this way. A lot of control.
Yes.
And that was a lot of my thinking was if I was doing enough stuff that vaguely pushed me towards something that I thought I wanted, then I should get there eventually. If I just kept doing stuff, like doing things. And the idea that as a projector, sometimes you get more done by doing like absolutely nothing, like the lay on your bed thing for 10 minutes. I've never been a nap person because anytime I wake up from a nap, I feel like groggy, foggy the whole rest of the day. I just want to go back to bed. It messes with me really bad. Sean's a really good napper. But I have incorporated what you do, which is not a sleep. It's a lay down and close your eyes for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes and then get back up. It's a rest. And that is a different thing. That helps me out a lot. But before, I would not allow that for myself because it doesn't seem productive. So,
Right.
yeah. And the word lazy, when I found out that that was like trigger word for projectors, if you will, it made total sense to me because that was one of the words that I would turn on myself to really like get my own goat.
Same. I did
Lazy.
not want to be lazy.
And when I said it to myself, I was like, oh man, I'm really being lazy. I have to turn my whole life around right now. Like,
Yes.
what can I do? And this is the thing. Projectors of all types, but especially mental projectors, if you're listening, it's the do. It's that piece that we just need to, there's nothing for us to do. There's nothing. And I know that that's frustrating and hard to hear and like, well, but I have to have a job and I have to have kids and or I have my kids and I have my life and I have to do things, Janelle. I can't not do things. I understand that. We're all doing things. But the amount of gas you're giving it is too much. I could look at any projector and then especially if you're at the beginning of your journey and go, you're pushing that gas too hard. You just are. There's no way around it. And it's precisely what you said, Rebeka. It's we see the others and we go, oh, this is how we move around in society. I can do it faster. I can do it better than you. Here I go. Watch me go. And that's what we want to do. We want to show the others when you were here to guide the others from a place of not doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just get all this sense of, I mean, I know I was very much in my undefined heart, like trying to prove my worth to people, that if I could just do all these things, then I would be worthy for the next level of payment or for this other job, and then I can rest.
Mhm.
And then I'll
Undefined
have the
heart.
thing that I need. Yes. Like all the not self. That's the thing that fascinated me when I look back is the times that I could hear all 7 not self voices yelling at the same time
Mhm.
and like running on their stationary bike, like, go, 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 you can do it. Okay, let's go. And
And you're like, if I can just quiet them, then I've earned the rest. I deserve the rest.
yeah,
I have to,
but I have to do all these things
yeah,
in order for them to be quiet. So I think that's the biggest permission slip I've gotten, is realizing I don't have to do all those things.
no. And they're never going to be quiet. They're
And
never
they're
going to be silent. They're going to go away and be quieter than other things, and you'll be able to put them back here. But the not self is the conditioning of our lives. It's the
right.
things that you're always going to be living with. It's just how you choose to move with them there. Like, they're always going to be there, especially with us being so open. Like, we can't get around it. We're very open in our centers, and we're going to be taking in a lot of stuff, and we have our whole lives. And I love that you asked that question of what about before you knew about human design, because a lot of us were similar in age. We'll just say late 30s. Okay. Um, a lot of us grew up with all sorts of conditioning, different than what people are growing up with now, different than what people grew up with before us. So
Yeah.
everybody comes to this game with different cards, and they play them how they learned from growing up. This is how I learned to play life. Like, this is how I learned to do it. I just have to keep doing it this way because this is what I learned. Human design comes in and says, not only is this not for you, this whole game isn't for you. Like, the whole thing,
Right.
all of it.
You are not meant to be one of the
You're
players.
here to flip the board.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And so that's been a huge one too, especially for me. I think I said this before because I have the right angle cross of rulership, and then they're like mental projectors are the highest guides. And I'm like, what is about to happen? Like, am I supposed to be some kind of ruler? What's going on? And it was a little weird. But I wanted to go back to the not self, because I feel like the not self for us, it's interesting to think about how as projectors we have the penetrating aura, and Ra always says that projectors are here to take in the other. That's how we guide them, because we penetrate, we take them in, and then we're able to guide. And then as mental projectors, we have no body awareness to support us, so we are enveloping other people. And I know I look back like that is exactly what happened to me. I was trying to be all these other people. And so unpacking that has been quite the journey. But I'm curious for you, like, how have you been able to separate yourself from the not self voice? And how do you work with that when it gets a little too loud? Do you switch it? Like, what's your
That's so good.
method?
There's a lot of not self we can talk about. Then the general not self of the projectors is just the feeling of bitterness, and learning about that was a big piece for me too, because I didn't realize that when I felt that. And for me, a lot of times bitterness, I feel it and identify it as jealousy. When I
Mhm.
read bitterness, to me, I was like, oh, I don't ever feel bitter. Like, that's somebody who can't see the silver linings in life. That's somebody who doesn't have gratitude for the things that they have. Is somebody who's bitter. I'm not that. I'm not that. So just leave
I'm not
that
bitter.
one there. No, I'm not. No. Leave that one there. So, but then when I realized, oh, but I do get irked when I see people in places that I want to be in their lives, or when I see people being able to do things that I wish that I could do, especially for other people in their lives. And when I feel myself doing that, when I feel myself going, oh, I want what that they've got, that's when I'm like, oh, this is the projector bitterness thing. Like, this is how I feel it. This is how I interpret it. I've been straight bitter before. Don't worry. Everybody has, everybody will. But for me, the like big signpost that something is going to change, and that's an exciting piece I want to leave here, is that just because you're feeling the not self doesn't mean you did anything wrong or that you had anything to do with it, really. It's just a signpost saying, okay, look at this moment. There's something's happening here. So it's actually the exciting thing, because it's a point in life where something's going to happen. Something's going to change. Either you're going to really sink into this bitterness for a while and let it hang on to you for a little bit, and maybe you'll learn something there. Or maybe you're going to push it out of the way really fast and go, nope, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. Like I like to do. Or you can stop in the journey and go, what is this telling me? What is this here for? Why am I feeling like this? Because every time I've done this, every single time, it turns it back around onto something in my life that I'm placing judgment on, that I need to really take that energy out of, and be like, oh, you don't necessarily need to be judging yourself because you don't have a 6-figure business, in a year or whatever these people are selling. Yeah. Or that you can't afford to be kind and generous. Like sometimes I'll watch on Instagram, like people who just like give people money or like do really generous things for them and then put it on their social media. And I'm like, why can't I do that? Why can't I do that? When I was in my early 20s, I was making a decent amount of money waiting tables, and I was living at home, and I didn't have a lot of bills. And I went into a Walmart and I paid someone's like $500 layaway bill. I don't know who it was. I just went in and I did it and I left. And the girl who did it was not impressed. I was like walking in there like, dun, da, 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 this girl's gonna be so impressed with me. Everybody's gonna sing me a song. And she was like, what do you want to do? Oh, you want to put 500 here? Okay, cool. Oh, just let me pick one. Yeah. I was like, yeah, pick one. Okay, fine. Here's your receipt. I was like, I don't get a parade and a fanfare. And I did feel a little bit bitter, but I think that's another part of the projector, and that's the recognition piece. Was
yes,
I was like, I was reaching for that recognition. I was like, please give it to me. I deserve it right now. And that's a huge part. And I guess we can segue into maybe talking about recognition a little bit here, which is, we're here to be recognized, but not in a shout it from the rooftops, look at me sort of way. We're not here to do anything to get us recognized. We're here to be recognized for ourselves and our energy and our gifts that we have without having to do anything. Doesn't that sound lovely?
Yeah, which feels weird, but it's
Super
helped
weird.
me. That piece has really helped me let go of some things in the past, like my divorce, and it helped me to quit a job because I realized I was not being recognized at all. So why am I wasting my energy here?
It's helped me a lot too. I was started over a year back. I started another human design venture with a group of people, and helped me recognize that I had, what is your value here? Remember that question that I told you I was asked? Yeah. It made me realize, it made me realize like, oh, I'm totally not recognized here. So I'm out of this.
If you have to ask a mental projector that, you're not actually seeing them, and you can go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's and it's hard because it's hard to trust in our own inner value and our own inner worth without having anything tangible to show for it. And so when someone says to you, show me the tangible stuff, you immediately go, I have it here. Let me show you what I can. I'm really good at talking to people, and I can probably write an email or two, but like there's not a whole lot of things. I can't give you a PowerPoint of all of my attributes that would help you with guidance in your life. It just doesn't work that way. It's you got to be in it. You have to be in it with me. You have to be here where we are in the environment for us to see you and to be a part of it with you, rather than tell you things and go do this, do that. We're here to be bossy, but not in a way that means we know what we're talking about. We don't. We just have feelings and inklings and energy and like, to me, this must be what like somebody who is like a fortune teller or a psychic must feel like before they, like maybe when they're a little kid and they're just getting their powers and they're like, I see stuff, but oh, I don't know, maybe like it's not clear. So
Yeah, interesting.
yeah, we have superpowers and we're magic, basically, is what I'm saying. So the recognition piece is huge because not only, as Rebeka said, and as I said, if you feel like you're not being recognized and you can take yourself out of the situation, then that's probably a thing worth looking into doing. Also, the recognition piece is big when it comes to you yourself recognizing you and yourself.
Yes, that's the thing. That's where the recognition has to start. Nobody else can recognize you if you don't recognize yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds cliche and a little cheesy, like love yourself, you're the only one who can do it. I get that some parts can sometimes sound like your platitudes, blowing smoke up your butt, just tell you things to make you feel good. But the thing of it is, recognizing yourself for the stuff that doesn't make you feel good is the big deal. Recognizing yourself for the things that you don't like, that you're like, ugh, I don't like the fact that I can't get up at 6 a.m. every morning. It bothers me. I think I can be more productive if I do. Okay. I recognize that and I continue to do what I'm going to do because it doesn't define me and it doesn't change who I am. And a lot of times the things we don't like about ourselves are just conditioning and BS from our whole lives telling us, hey, you shouldn't, like, this is a negative attribute about you. This is a bad thing about you. This is not a good thing. And that's a huge piece in human design. And a lot of stuff that we learn about ourselves, that we learn are our superpowers, our strengths, are the big important things that are here for us, are the stuff we were told our whole lives is not a good thing. It's negative. It's a negative trait. It's a negative attribute. It's bad to think that way. You should just give it 110% like everybody else.
And isn't that interesting? Because I think we talk a lot about how the undefined centers can be so conditioned and that's attached to the not self voice, but we can have that in the defined centers as well, just like you said, because
yes,
it can be too much. Like, especially for us as mental projectors, we were probably telling our younger siblings what to do, or, being a teacher. Like, I've got stories for sure that shut me down because it seemed like it annoyed people when I told them something that I knew.
Oh, yes, me too. I silenced my throat, my defined throat. I only have 2 defined centers, one of them being the throat, the most important center in the chart, manifestation center, like the big deal. And I said no, because I didn't want to burden people with what I had to say, or I wasn't sure if it was, just because I think it's funny or just because I think it's smart, they're going to think it's stupid. And my mom's favorite thing to say to me on a regular daily basis is, you're not the mom. Stop it. You're not the mom. Because I was very much, I will tell Monica, my sister, what to do, but not just her. I tried to parent my parents. I tried to tell them what to do. Like, I was just like, no, I am in charge because I give myself the most responsibility, because if I don't do it, nobody else will. And that's a lot of conditioning from childhood. But it is really important to realize that just because you were called bossy as a kid, or maybe you were, I don't know, labeled other things, those are not bad things. They're just things. They're what you are, who you are.
And it's their perception. It has nothing to do with you.
Exactly. One person's bossiness is another person's thank you. I needed that advice, or thank you for that tough love, gate 51. I needed you to shock me into place, and now I'm ready to go. Like, not everything in life is pretty and hearts and flowers and can be delivered as such. So however you come into this life with your conditioning and whatever your personality traits and quirks and things are, that's a big part of this. That's a big part of your design. And those things you should look at those with compassion and go, actually, it's not that bad that I do that thing, that I'm kind of bossy. But as a mental projector, because that's who we're talking about right now, look at it through the lens of waiting for the invitation, or look at it through the lens of processing it through your authority before doing stuff. Look at it through the lens of, do I need to do something to make this thing happen? Do I need to do things to make this thing go the way that I want? Because you shouldn't, which sounds crazy to even say out loud. But
I know it's a little weird.
it's very interesting, because the way that we came to this, the environment, to me feels very like I should be doing more stuff, and I'm not doing stuff.
Right.
Like I should learn how to code a website, and I should learn how to market this thing the best that we can, and I should take this seminar, and I should be in the background behind the scenes doing like so many things, and I'm not. And I feel almost like I'm cheating. And I do in my days, especially this weekend, because I had a lot of time off because of the holiday. I was like, what? No, you need to add something in here, and maybe you should be learning more about your design in this time, and you should be here doing this here. And instead I'm just like, we'll see what happens. And usually that works better for us. So we've talked about recognition. We've talked about the not self themes. I loved that you mentioned the not self themes, or the not self themes of the centers also as a defined center issue situation. If you're a mental projector, you have 2 or 3 defined centers. You don't ever have 1. You have 2 or 3, and they're here. That's all you get. So the not self themes are thinking about things that don't matter, pretending to be certain, and the throat is a weird one that I don't really like. Calling attention to yourself, like really like,
am I trying to attract attention?
Am I trying to attract attention? When I heard this, it hit me the wrong way, and I think it's because it's what I do. Is when I feel like I'm not being heard, or when I feel like I'm not a part of the group, I will say stuff just to get involved, to be a part of it, instead of trusting and allowing that my presence is a part of it, and I don't have to just let things out. And also I feel very like, my whole life I've always thought about what I was going to say like a million times before I said it. Like, how can I word this so that it sounds smart, so that it's funny, so that it's short? Like I always try to like make something like a little pitch, that so someone will want to hear it, be like, oh, this person is so smart, listen to her. So I wouldn't say anything, because it would take so long for me to like, oh, I need to get the words out just right and just perfectly. And I didn't realize that I was really just trying to curate this thing way too much. And I was trying to call attention to myself, but it was in a way that I thought I needed to, in order for people to see me as smart. That was the big one, is when it came to speaking, is I wanted to sound smart. I wouldn't say anything if I didn't think I sounded smart.
I could see that. Like sometimes I won't ask a question because I don't want people to think I don't know something.
Yeah. And I mean, that's everybody has their conditioning, but there's a lot of conditioning that spans a lot of people. And I feel like most people tend to do that, is not ask the question, but almost any time you ask a question, somebody else is thinking that same thing. And I've learned that through this human design business as well. It's like, oh, I want to come on and talk about it, but I don't know every little thing about this center or this channel that I want to talk about, so I can't, because I'm not the be all end all master. I'm not raw incarnate sitting here talking in front of you, so I can't say a word, because that's not, to me, that was like I was lying to people. I was misrepresenting myself, when in reality that was putting way too much pressure on myself and my manifestation center. Like, we're here to talk. So again, not self themes in those centers might present themselves to you a little bit differently, because you're defined somewhere in there. Mental projector, I know you are. I don't know which ones, but you're defined. So maybe look at the not self themes of your defined centers as well, but realize that it might not present itself in the same way, or it might present itself in the same way and be louder because you're conditioned your whole life to think about things that don't matter or to pretend to be certain, which is funny because I have defined ajna and throat, and the not self of pretending to be certain is something I'm like, I run away from certainty. I'll tell people something, be like, oh, but I don't know. You do your own research. I'm not here to tell who. Like, I go the opposite direction. So it's very like the idea of pretending to be certain. Like, I'm like, I could never do that. People would see right through me.
I know. Well, and I have the one line in the fear motivation, so it's more for me. I remember this moment though, when the first time I coached CrossFit by myself, and I don't think I've told you this story. And I was so nervous, and I was literally like hiding, like standing so far away from the class. And the owner of the box, we actually went to high school together, and she hung out for the first day. I was like, please just stay here for the first day. And she comes over, she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I am terrified to tell them what to do because I'm afraid someone's going to be mad at me.
Or say, oh no, that's not what we should do. It actually should be this. Like, that's what I'm afraid of. Someone's going to correct me.
Exactly. Because they've all been going to this CrossFit place longer than I have. And some of them have been doing CrossFit longer than me. And I just decided to be honest with her and was like, I'm terrified they're going to be mad at me. And she looked at me and she goes, they're literally paying a lot of money specifically so you'll tell them what to do. They want you to tell them. And I was like, oh, and then I had to tell them. Yes. And then I had all these flashes. It was like a near-death experience, right? Like life flashed before my eyes. Of like all these times that I told somebody something and they got mad at me. And so then it just made me realize like, oh, those are the stories I was holding on to of these times. And I didn't hold on to any of the times people were glad I still told them something.
No, we don't.
So, but it was so funny. So I just got so excited in that moment, like, okay, yeah, I'm just holding on to that. And then I stepped up, and this was such a healing thing for me. I coached CrossFit for 2 years and I loved it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Actually, it was like 2.5. I think about going back sometimes, but that's a whole
awesome. And once you did it, and once you realize, oh, people actually do want to hear what I have want me to tell them what to do, and they like it, then it's almost like, yeah, now I'm going to tell you what to do.
So then there's that recognition. But my dad was actually in the class, and so we were talking after, and I was excited because I made this whole realization, and I was telling him like, oh, this is what I was afraid of, this is what I learned. And he goes, well, I don't know why you'd be worried about it. I mean, you've been telling your brother what to do since the day born. And it's like, this is exactly why I'm scared to talk.
Right.
So it's another moment. But the only reason I bring this up, because then like the observation thing that we're always talking about in our transit talk, like just observe yourself, sit in loving observation, listen to the stories that come up. That's when you learn the things. And so then I could sit there and say, oh, right. Like I spent my life growing up with these, like feeling judged for guiding people. No wonder it terrifies me. So then I just put myself in positions where I was invited to guide. And that's when I was a CrossFit coach and a junior high athletics coach and a junior high basketball coach. And I coached my kids' basketball team.
Jeez Louise. I didn't know you were this athletic.
Yeah.
This is like, I'm learning stuff about Rebeka right now. Well, that's awesome. And it's like you said, it's because after that, you put yourself in a position to be invited. You didn't say, look at me, I'm premier CrossFit coach. I'm going to go here and here and here and peddle my services. And here I am, here you are. You just made yourself available. And people were like, yeah, you, and you had confidence in it now because you were recognized as, hey, I can tell these people what to do and they like it. So yeah, that's awesome. And that's how I first felt when I started reading charts. I was like, someone's going to come in with more information than me. They're going to know more than me. And I'm going to be telling them stuff and they're going to go, oh, I know that. First of all, no, people don't do that. They generally don't come to you to tell you
that they know more.
Yeah, exactly. They don't pay you to say, hey, or you're getting this wrong or whatever. Like,
I just wanted to pay you so I could feel superior. That's why I'm here.
Right? Exactly. So this is a good piece of advice for y'all. If you're getting recognized, take the recognition. take it on and
Yes.
go,
Oh my gosh,
thank
that's so good.
you.
Let
No
it
need to say,
in.
oh no, I'm not really that good, or no, this was just, this was a fluke. Today was a really good day, or oh, you really liked it. Nobody else likes when I do that. No, take the recognition and hold on to it. And anytime you're doing the thing that you love to do, the niche thing, that's your mental projector thing, and you're like, oh God, but all these people do it so much better than me, or they're making so much more money doing it than I am. Think back to the times when someone said, hey, like, this really helped me. Or months later when they tell you, I'm still thinking about that reading, or I'm still imparting things, or thank you for tagging me. I love all this. Like, I usually don't know how it goes for people after I read for them, unless
I don't
I'm
either.
connected with them on Instagram. I don't really it's not a part of my leadership style yet. It's not a part of my guidance yet. This thing, the environment, is the most like connected thing to people that that I talk about human design with, that I've ever done. So it's really interesting when someone comes back and says, hey, remember that thing you told me during the reading? I do, and this is what happened with it. And it's like,
It's so cool.
it's very affirming. And sometimes I get irritated because I'm like, well, that doesn't pay your bills. Like, recognition doesn't pay your bills.
Yeah.
And that's part of my conditioning I need to work on, is that recognition is so much more valuable than money. And I need to work on my value system here in life when I think that way, because the recognition is what's going to bring the opportunities, and the opportunities are what's going to bring you a lifestyle that allows you to live as a mental projector, but also support yourself and, eat and and have a roof over your head if that's what you want. All the sorts of things come from this place of, okay, well, what do I do next? You move forward one step at a time.
One step at a time. Like, and I know we talked before about how with the soundboarding and just being mental projector, it just feels like moment by moment, we're just talking and setting the sound waves out and getting the information back. And that's all we can do, is just one step at a time. And that's it. And it's terrifying, but it's also kind of freeing when you step into it.
And that's why I try to voice now, like, I don't want to work wait tables. I call myself a waitress. If y'all don't like that term, sorry, but I do. I'm not going to be doing that forever, and I'm not going to be doing it for very much longer, and I don't like doing it, and it's going to go away soon. Like, saying those things out loud freaks me out, because I don't know that. I can't prove that. And in my head, I'm like, you have to prove these things before you say it out loud, or else you're
Your
lying.
body feels it, right?
Yeah, and my body feels it, and it just doesn't seem like, I don't know how to describe it. It just seems very, at this point, even though I've worked the same restaurant for 8 years, it seems temporary. And I don't know, like, that's the word that I get. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels very temporary. When I go there, it feels temporary. When I see my schedule, it feels temporary. When I talk to anyone who I know there, it feels very temporary. And I just think of it that way and kind of like lean into that feeling, because I don't know how else to do it. This is how we're here with you. We're in the canoe with you, and we don't have paddles either, and we're kind of navigating it. And that's what this whole environment is about. And that's part of what this video was about, was to just share with you our thoughts about mental projectors and how we have felt navigating these waters. And hopefully you liked it, and you learned some stuff about yourself, and you took away some stuff that you can practice in your real life as a mental projector, if you haven't been already, or stuff that you can just bring back in, that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I was supposed to talk it out a lot. Maybe I should be talking more, or maybe I should be writing down my recognitions. I don't do that, but I should. Like, maybe I should be paying more attention to that stuff, so that my recognitions become brighter, and the times when I think I messed up become smaller. So yeah, we hoped you enjoyed it. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? I feel like we covered a lot of stuff.
I think so. Yeah. I just look forward to more conversations and any questions. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else for me to add.
Yeah. So we love you guys, and go watch some more videos or come hang out with us. Bye.
Yeah. Love y'all.